Ciao Juventini, Alberto here, and I've got all your Juventus news. Sadly for us, another name, that of Federico Gatti, involved in this gambling scandal. But I'm going to give you the full leaked list that is out there floating around right now. But my list is tied to audio clips, so shorter than another one floating around, but we'll tackle it nonetheless. Then we're going to take a look at the short list of young midfielders Juve could be looking at in the winter mercado, and we get some bad news, unfortunately. Hey, when it rains, it pours, but bad news about Danilo and his current health status coming back from Brazil on international break. All that and more right now. You guys know the drill. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, please share the content. This is the AJC. I'm Alberto. Let's rock. We're going to kick things off with the list of leaked names. Now, there is a much bigger list than the one I'm going to give you, but this one is actually tied to audio clips and snippets floating around right now. The list is as follows: Lazio, Casale, Luis Alberto, Rovella, Pellegrini, Zaccagli, and Cancellieri. For Roma, Zalewski. For Lecce, Gallo. For Inter, Barella, Pastoni. And for Sassuolo, Berardi. And as I mentioned earlier, for Juventus, Gatti. It is also rumored that there is a player the same age as Fagioli that's also involved in this, but there's also rumors of a much bigger list, like I mentioned, and I'm not doubting that that list is accurate. I believe we will get those names as well. It's just this list I just provide you with tied to audio clips and snippets floating around. Gatti, he has been labeled out of the Italy match against Malta today for technical reasons. It could very well be because of this, and his name was leaked yesterday, sadly for us. All right, another player to add next to Fagioli. As far as this thing goes, hey, I told you 2 days ago what we were getting was around 45 to 60 names involved here. I think we're far from over here. More is going to come out here. Romeo Agresti hinted at the same thing yesterday, saying he thinks we're at around 1%. This is before this list I gave you out and the much bigger list came out. So he was painting the exact same picture. Probably a little bit drastic of an exaggeration there in terms of 1%, but painting the same picture that this is going to be really big once everything comes out, and I don't think he's wrong. For Federico Gatti, hey, the same frustrations I had with Fagioli stand. As far as where Fagioli is right now, he is set to enter plea deal negotiations with the prosecutors, okay? He is working with them. He has given them information, probably given them names too. They are getting information from his phone, which they searched, and this is where some of these I believe snippets came from, were from wiretaps, not just on his phone, but these other players involved. They've been investigating this for quite some time. Again, far from over. As far as Fagioli goes, this apparently dates back to when he was a part of the youth system, okay? So also showing us that this thing could be very big by the time it's done. And by the list I provided you, we're going to see a lot of teams involved. What will this mean for punishments? Will it lessen and make the punishments less harsh because of the amount of teams involved and FIGC may be getting nervous? I don't know. Nobody knows this. We are just going to have to take this thing one day at a time, one step at a time. As far as the live podcast that we had yesterday with my friend John Grove from JOFC Toronto yesterday, I know some of you came out and had some strong reactions to my words, my opinions in terms of Fagioli and how we treat this. I respect your opinions, and I'm not saying anybody has to agree with me, okay? Some of you were disappointed from me not seeing the human side of this, with Fagioli potentially being involved in, being addicted to gambling. But I am sorry, everybody, if you disagree with me. I respect your opinions. I just don't share the same sentiments, and it's really simple for the reasons that I did share and discuss. For me, number one, you were employed. You have a privilege of being a professional football player, let alone at Juventus. But Juventus doesn't owe the players anything. Juventus is providing them with the opportunities in front of them, and it's, again, a privilege, but they're providing them with this opportunity, and what they choose to do with it or do in their own personal lives that could ruin that is up to them and them alone. Juventus doesn't owe these players anything because they're providing them with these opportunities. Fagioli was given the first team status. Fagioli was given starter status. Fagioli was given the number 21. gambling, if you have a problem, he has a support system around him. And I'm not saying that Juventus shouldn't help him or can't help him. Like, I have no problem if Juventus chooses to help him. But I get back to this one point. If you're telling me that his involvement, and again, it's right there in the wording, illegal platforms, okay? Betting, gambling on illegal platforms because it is state controlled in Italy, all right? It's right there in the word. You are involved in illegal activity, one way, shape, or another. So it comes down to this final point for me. And I'm fine with if you guys think I'm too harsh, but it comes down to this. If you're asking me the question, do I think Fagioli still deserves his spot over someone else that's doing things properly, not involved in something that is considered illegal? I will tell you 1,000% no. He does not still deserve that right, that opportunity, that privilege. And I'm going to keep it consistent and say the same goes for Federico Gatti if, in fact, he has been involved. All right? Period. What the teams choose to do now with so many involved and everything, I do think things might lighten up, but it's incredibly frustrating to hear all of this. We will see what Juventus does and what Juventus acts moving forward. They did put out their official statement yesterday, and it was short and sweet to the point. Once they found out about Fagioli's involvement or possible involvement, they contacted the prosecutors of the FIGC. That is them creating the separation and saying, Fagioli, you have to deal with this, similar to what they did with Paul Pogba. All we can do is hurry up and wait, everybody, all right? Now, we get to what Juventus could potentially do, and the rumors are surfacing saying that Yildiz and Iling Jr. may be used and to help out the midfield. We've seen Iling Jr. Metsala experiments. Yildiz had a great showing last time around, albeit in a short amount of time in the Derby della Mola. I would definitely look to be doing something like this, but in a two-man pivot with one of those players playing up high.